Still playing with your pastels?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's just amazing. It just and I have a lot of stress building up to it. We had a merger in our medical practice. Welcome. This is very impressive for an evening meeting. I'm Kathy Ferris, and I'm standing in for Dee Falls, who's on a wonderful trip out of the country somewhere. So, never done this before, so y'all bear with me. We have some new faces and some old returning faces. So if you are a first-time visitor with us tonight, stand up and, I know, we're so bad. Tell us your name and what you do and what medium you work in.
My name is Tim Blanton. I'm the Executive Director of Episcopal Place, and I do watercolor.
Watercolor. Thank you, welcome.
Cherie Gary, I just moved here from Dallas, Texas, and public relations and marketing practice and technology, so got to work at home before COVID. And, I try to paint oils.
Oh, wow, okay.
Do a little watercolor too.
Oh, wonderful. We're so glad to have you. Who else? I know we have somebody new. Well, returning. Lois.
Lois Nash. Was out of mission for a couple of years during COVID, 2 or 3 years, but signed up for Kentuck last year because everyone said you won't get in. Well, then I got in, I had no paint because I hadn't painted, in a couple of years, and it got me back. So I'm back, and I'm painting in oils. And during the Great Recession, I didn't have any landscape design, so instead I painted flowers, and I'm still painting flowers.
Oils and flowers. I love it. Botanicals are always a hot one. We got anybody else new? Returning? Well, we're just thrilled that we have such a good crowd tonight. We have some special things. The board, and we missed everybody so tremendously. It's just wonderful to see everybody's faces, and it's been a couple of years, and glad to have everybody back. So we have a new slate of officers. Dee Falls is the president. I am actually Kathy Ferris, the president-elect, and I'll be it next year. We've got Sarah Cook, the senior member advisor. Sarah, that's Sarah. We've got, let's see, I jumped down. Charlotte McDavid, is she here tonight? She's not here tonight. She's our past president. We kind of had to create that. She was way past president. So she's also acts as our advisor to kind of keep us on track with what our history has been. Sue Newby is in the back. She's our treasurer. She'll talk in a little bit. We've got Lynn Briggs and Susan Johnsey, which is our VP of membership. That's who you'll see. Gail Hurley, which is our VP of programs. Beverly Phillips, our recording secretary. Oh, there you are, right in front of me. Let's see, and it should be noted that in addition to the board officers, we also have helping Janet Sanders with the spring show. We've got Nikki Cochran. Glad to see you. And Carly Strickland is not here this evening, but they're going to be working with Janet, kind of learning the ropes and eventually taking over that wonderful job, which is a big job, but I think she's got kind of a well-oiled machine going.
So far, all I've done is mainly read emails.
There's a lot of emails, yeah. Let's see, another role is Beverly Bates. Beverly, who handles our, let's see, you're doing the newsletter and construct. What are you doing? What is your position? Layout. Okay. This is what Dee wrote for me, and she has something else written here, and I didn't think that was right. And Janet's kind of working to, basically when artists will send her information, she compiles it and gets it to Beverly for the newsletter, which is a good point we're stepping into. If you guys have anything fun, like Kentuck, being part of Kentuck, or something exciting or new that you've done, accomplishments, if there's a gallery that's carrying you now, we want to know. That fills up that newsletter. And you saw the one that we just recently put out. It was so big and long and wonderful. I mean, we've come a really long way. We've got some good techie people who know how to do this now. So please send that information on to Janet Sanders, or is it Mountain Brook? What would be her email address for that?
You can send him, I was looking at something
I'm
else.
sorry, the newsletter items.
Oh,
It's the club email address.
Just the club email address, okay.
You can reply to it from any of our emails.
Now, this is important. We need help. We need help with something, and we have a huge membership, and this is a fairly easy position, but we've not been able to fill this one yet. And it would be corresponding secretary. Now, what that person does is basically check the emails, forwards the information to the right people, and manages our Facebook page. It's not a hard thing to do. You can do it remotely. Janet said it takes, really she's doing it right now along with the other things. And it's just a little bit too much for one person to have to do. So is there anybody who's kind of savvy with Facebook or our Facebook page and could share stuff or check emails for us? Anybody who would be interested in doing a correspondence secretary?
I don't think she.
No?
I think there's,
No.
I think maybe the managing of the Facebook page is separate. That's something Janet's doing.
Manage the Facebook
Yeah.
page. Okay, not true.
No, not
Okay.
true.
Okay, don't have to do the Facebook
It's just
page.
managing the emails and sending things and putting them, if you can do your own email or do Google Drive or something, it's really not that hard. But let's talk about the perks of being on the board.
Okay.
Okay.
You go ahead, you plug it.
All right, my favorite perk is that I've learned more about being an artist from being on the board and helping with the shows and all those things.
Yeah.
Plus, meeting all these people, getting to know the names and faces, it takes some time, but when you're in that position especially, and then the board itself is just a terrific group of people who have, as you probably know, stepped up to the plate and care about this group so much that we are gonna, rally the forces, and we're gonna have a spring show. It's a great group to be a part of, the executive board and this. And I think honestly, the reason I got on the board to begin with is so that I could have a choice of where my spot was in the show. There's not a whole lot of perks, but if you're on the board,
Yeah.
you get, kind of first
get
pick.
Primo location, yeah.
Primo location, and that's kind of nice,
Yeah.
No.
So is anybody interested in helping us out with this? We've managed to fill all the other positions fairly easily. Gail made several phone calls and did
Twist a few
begging.
arms.
A little strong arming. But this is one that I guess everybody has, I don't know, I guess it's just been one that we haven't been able to find anybody who's willing to take it.
I'm not volunteering.
That was a little pencil.
Also, they, just FYI, and I'm sure you know this, but they also need to know how to create events on Facebook and how to do Facebook advertising. Because Facebook advertising is cheap.
So is that
Well,
managing
that's a
Facebook
different-
page?
That's a different job.
So anybody want to be a Facebook manager? I mean, that's a great
That's a
job.
different job.
That's a different job. That's what we were saying. I think Dee got confused and combined the two. As far as we understand, at least we're three of us.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying. I don't think
So
that's
what does the Facebook manager do?
just post things for the club.
And you want to do that?
Basically, tries to highlight what our artists are doing. So
Yeah.
posts, when you have a show with
Administrator.
somebody else,
Yeah. I mean, it's,
shares work or whatever everybody's doing. So,
if you're on Facebook much, I mean, it's not.
yeah, it's not hard.
And we as artists have the responsibility to communicate with the club and tell
Right.
the club, hey, can you promote this? And then it's just a
Right.
great way to be featured. So we.
So how many takers?
So Janet's gonna continue to
She's-
use Facebook maybe, or?
She is for now,
She is for
unless we can
now.
find somebody else to
Yeah,
do it.
and doing with the show and, everything else, so.
Well, I have a question.
Yes. Okay.
The email job, how would you even know how to answer an email?
How would you even know to what?
How would you,
Answer.
I mean, what, I don't really understand what that is. I'm terrible at Facebook.
One thing we left out is that Janet has become a pro at training people for this job. She's done it over the years, and it's basically, you, have access to the, email account for the club, and you just add the password and you can access it, and then it's just one of the email addresses that you get. Does anyone in here have more than one email address?
Yes.
Several of us probably do. I mean, that's
Now, I don't mind doing the email if there's training.
Yes,
Now,
there will
that's
be
a
training
great
for that.
idea.
And it's just basically, I mean, it's getting the email to in the right hands. So if it's pertaining to membership or someone has a question about how I paid my dues, we would forward that.
Then I'm not gonna ask, as long as I don't have to know all that.
And you will
Yeah.
love being on the board. It's the greatest group, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do email.
Okay, great.
Don't associate with me.
Okay, and tell me your name again.
Susie, S-U-S-I-E, Kathy, C-A-F-H.
Thank you, Susie Kathy, you're awesome. Moving on to the next item, I know everyone had heard that we lost our long-term member, Rollina Oglesby, this past year. Such a sweetheart. And her family has donated supplies that Gail has gone by, and we've got several tonight that we're gonna do door prizes that I'll let her talk about that. And let's see, what else did Dee write for me here to talk about? We'll be doing a drawing, so when you signed in, hope you remember your number by your name.
We can call it out too. I
Okay.
forgot that was one of the ideas.
And then at this point, I'm gonna turn it over to Beverly Phillips. Do you need to do a report? Okay, you don't need Sue is next on the report. She has to be out there for a report.
Our treasury balance as of January 31st was $7,065.44. I'm happy to report that in January, we collected $1,800 in membership dues. I have the P&L if anybody has any questions. No? Thank you.
And just make sure she's taking dues tonight. If you guys haven't paid yet, she'll take them up there at the front. And, just make a note, a special note for our next meeting, which is a morning meeting. So I don't know if any of y'all will be at the morning meeting, but on March the 24th, it's going to be at City Hall instead of here. So just kind of make it, and we have a list of, Gail did a great job of putting together a calendar back there. If you want to grab one, it's got all the meetings for the rest of the year on it. Just put them on your calendar. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Gail, and she's going to talk about the show, and then we'll do the program.
Yes.
Kathy, you just said March 24th, did I misunderstand you?
Yes, that's the next regular meeting, March the
You
20th.
got 3:15 up there.
Oh, what we have up here is at 3:15.
That's the board meeting.
That's the board meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood you.
And just as a reminder, you all, the board meetings are open board meetings that anyone can attend. And you usually wouldn't necessarily talk at it without getting on the agenda through D Falls. But that's just a reminder. So we just thought it would be important to publicize when we're meeting. You know, during COVID was really a hard time for everybody. And that is one of the things we're trying to do better on. So, okay.
And I think that's all that I had.
All right, enough of that. All right, here's my list. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm Gail, and I'm actually a very shy person. And I have a hard time asking people to do things. But I do have a couple of jobs to just throw out at you. Tonight, a lot of you pitched in and rearranged the room for us. Just know that they don't set up the rooms for us, and I can't do it by myself. I'm usually running around, so if you get here early, just ask somebody, can I help? And you probably will get tapped, or if you want to come let me know that you can come help set up for a future meeting. There will always be something to do, maybe half an hour or so beforehand. And the other thing I'm shy about asking is for programs for our club. And last month we had cute Carly Strickland give the best program on painting pet portraits, and I did a terrible job of recording it, but I put it on a YouTube video, and last count I saw 50 people had watched that YouTube video. And I don't know that it's that great, but we're gonna do the same thing with this meeting, try to record the programs, put them on a YouTube video, and share them. So I'm gonna share a link to the highlights of the program and a link to this program that I've created tonight with the help of 3 very talented artists. So our theme for tonight, I'm jumping the gun. I wanted to say, if you have an idea for a little mini program, a little mini presentation, we thought we'd do a next month, have some roundtable discussions, but I'd like to do some little demonstrations. If you want to show how you do gold leafing, or how you do gesso and watercolor, or something like that, that's my backup plan. But I would love to have people willing to just share something that they like doing, that they can do, and they think people might be interested in seeing. Okay, does that make sense? And I'll work with you to make it accessible and viewable and all that. So for tonight's program, since we have the show coming up, my brain starts thinking, what do I need to do to generate interest in my art, in the art show? And I thought how fun it would be to just sit down and visit with some of our famous local artists, very successful ones, and we have 3 that agreed to do this. Actually, a 4th one, David Nichols, agreed after I'd already finished making the presentation. So I've got a little video from him I'll share on a future meeting. But I have Melanie Morris, Anita Bice, and both sent their regrets. They're so sorry they couldn't be here tonight for different reasons. And then Vicki Denenberg, and we are very lucky to have Vicki with us tonight. So she'll be hands-on, ready to answer questions, I'm sure, at the end. So my thought for tonight was to show this 30-minute video. It's about 35 minutes. It just goes boom, boom, boom. And I apologize, I didn't go to film school, and I just edited this with iMovie. If you've ever done it, it's kind of fun, but it's not always real smooth. Ken Burns would not approve. But I wanted to show you this video, and this link to this video will be shareable, and it would probably be something fun to share with your friends. And at the end of the program, if you have questions, you might even jot down things you want to bring up or ask about at the end. I have a few more tips to share over there. And any questions about Melanie Morris's? I thought I had paused that. Melanie Morris has gear to sell. Y'all got that information set. All right, so I'm going to try to set this. Shall I move this out of the way?
Hey, Gail.
Yes?
Doesn't matter. I think it's
We
fine.
had put on the agenda that you would talk about the show, our show.
I guess so. I guess I do know a little bit about it. Janet is in Florida, and I guess I've been a bit of a stand-in for her, and we have met with the folks at City Hall, and they are over the moon about us setting up and showing there. And if you know where I'm talking about, the outside of City Hall faces Church Street. There's a big round pond, and there's room outside for some 20 tents. And then there's space indoors for some 15 or maybe more artist setups. A lot of people really like being indoors. A lot of people really like being out of doors. Like Carol Carmichael already told me she's gonna do it, but only if she can be outdoors, and I'm sure she can. But, so anyway, we're meeting on Monday to talk about it, get all the, the jots and tittles approved with the city. And I think with us having our meetings over there the next 2 times, you're gonna feel more and more comfortable with City Hall. One of their thoughts is they wanted City Hall to feel like your City Hall, like a place where you can be comfortable and you don't just have to go pay a traffic fine, or late gas bill, or I don't know what to pay over there, but anyway, they just really want people to use it like a community center, and we are really gonna be doing that, and they're gonna do so much advertising for us. They're gonna get the word into all the backpacks at all the schools in Mountain Brook about it. They're gonna get the vendors, the merchants on the main street or in Pressline Village on board with it, so, and get on all these calendars. Anyway, the point is, I think it'll be a really nice way to restart our spring show experience. Any questions real quick, or?
Why aren't we going back to the elementary school?
Well, I think one thought is that we weren't so sure we'd have enough people to justify it being over there. And the last few times we've done it before COVID, the group was kind of shrinking anyway. And you know, it's just a little more removed, and you would think the Piggly Wiggly would have opened things up, but apparently I didn't show in those shows. People felt like the crowds were down. Well, this just be a different way. If we get really, really big again, for sure we could go back there. But the city is also saying, if you get really, really big, and they'd like us to be like a Fairhope art show or something, they said we can block streets and we can do this, we can do that. And I just think they're gonna do some things for us that we're gonna be very grateful for, so. Sketch or something, those are all available. Question, Vicki?
I was wondering if we could first maybe hear from Vicky, since she's here and we're all able to like interact and ask questions.
Right,
And
well, I
maybe-
could, if you'll give me a minute, I will fast forward to her section of the short version.
And I promise it'll be quick.
And while Vicky's here, does anybody have any questions for her before we go on, or,
How did you get into bow interiors? I wanna know how that relationship started.
Oh, and let me,
Just
10
in
years ago,
particular.
yes,
That
10
one.
years ago, I was lucky enough to have one of my best friends who is a designer in Grayton Beach, and Bow Interiors had just opened. And I would paint for my friend, and she would put my art in projects. And she just happened to walk some of my pieces into Bow Interiors, and Bo liked them and kept a few, and they sold that first week. And so the rest is history. It's so funny because Melanie and I, we have totally different concepts and what's made us successful. She doesn't do the shows I do, and she's not in the galleries, but my 2 galleries alone, they need art from me every approximately 4 to 6 weeks, and I give each of them at least 20 pieces.
holy moly.
And they're large. So those 2 galleries, I get checks every 2 weeks from just those 2 galleries. And I would, that's just my personal preference. And even though, yes, I give them 50%, I'm not, I can't do a Shopify because I don't have my art long enough to put it on a website and wait for someone to buy it. It's either going to Bo, or it's going to Bella Vita, or I'm putting it in a show. So I don't mind people contacting me, what size is this on Instagram, is it available? I like the personal contact with my clients. So that's just where we're different.
And it is so, it's obvious when you hear Anita, she talks about Facebook. That is her go-to marketing. The 3 things, the thing you have in common is that you all really stress social media.
Right.
And, I mean, it is not going away. I think maybe, I don't know, but, yeah.
How do you handle, a client who wants to fill their whole house with just your artwork?
I tell them I love you, but it's overkill. I don't even want my own art and all over my house. And I have people who,
Trying to be delicate,
no,
just
they have
saying,
anywhere from 4 to 7 pieces, and I'm just like, that is so sweet, but don't you want someone else?
Yeah, that's you can do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Vicky said you could invite him to the show. Let him see how.
That's a great idea. It is very.
Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a good idea. Done to the show.
Vicky, how many pages do you produce a week?
Oh my God. It depends on the day. A lot of days I will paint, 3 to 4 paintings in a day.
Big, large one.
No, I can do 1 or 2 large ones in a day, and then maybe a couple of, I hate small art. A 12 by 12 is the smallest I do.
Let's say you hate doing small art.
I hate doing them, and it's just an add-on for my galleries, for people, for gifts.
Yeah.
I do not want to be in the gift business. I want to be the focal point in a client's home. That's just who I am.
We all have different gifts.
Right, but I just don't like those gifty things.
Oh,
Good point, too small.
That's because you don't, yeah.
okay. So we go on and do, Nita's is about eight minutes, and then we can have time for some questions. It's usually, our meetings usually go an hour and a half, but if we start at 6:15, I think we'll be done about 7:30.
Oh, and if anyone does want to donate to Mitchell's Place, I hate to ask, but it's such a wonderful cause. And I truly mean that when I say it put my art on the map with Art Blink. A lot of it got, beat, but I've done Art Blink for 14 years, and you just have no idea the people who will see your art when you give it and they see your name, and it always comes back, always.